finally gonna do this video about coordinating character colors. I hope you're excited. The moment you've all been waiting for. I don't think everyone's been waiting, but I've had a few questions about this for a very long time. So these four boys, they are the raccoon gang that I've designed on previous vlogs. So from left to right, we have Ember, Puff, Sprout, and Matches. I drew them previously offline, got their little turnaround sheets done, and now that I have all their turnaround sketches done, I guess, I'm gonna color them. So when I'm coloring a bunch of characters that are part of a group and I want their color schemes to like complement each other, I do this where I line them up and I make sure that they all, just having them lined up lets me keep an eye on things and change colors all at once rather than designing one character and then pulling the colors from them onto another person, or like even just grabbing different characters and giving them crazy different color palettes. Because when you have a group, it's really important to make them all look good together so that when they're all in the same panel all the time, they will still look fabulous. They look like a team. They've got their little team colors. So I did start with Ember. I usually will have like the main character in the group and kind of base everyone else's colors off theirs. Ember especially because like he has close-knit ties to Marble and Penny, who are two main characters of this story. Ember is also a main character. So I pulled colors from Penny and Marble and brought a bunch of their colors into Ember's design, and we already had a very clear idea of how we wanted Ember's colors to be. He is a cinnamon raccoon, which means that he has the very light kind of orangish fur, which is super cute. Go look up cinnamon raccoons. 10 out of 10 adorable. So we had the orange as his fur color, so I pulled the orange from Marble's fur. He is a calico cat. He has a lot of orange in his fur, so I brought that color and brought it into Ember's design and lightened it up quite a bit. So that is my starting point. What I also like to do when I'm choosing colors is to like lay down a bunch of squares or circles of different colors and kind of match them together. So like you'll see on here somewhere I've got like little squares and little like blobs of color up in the corner, and that's just where I test my colors. It's like, okay, I want to try this orange and then this yellow, and I just mess around with them up there before I commit to like filling in my character, just in case I get like the values totally wrong. I mean, if I did color in the character entirely, it wouldn't be a huge loss if I hadn't tested the colors out first, because this is digital and I can just like, as long as everything's on a different layer, I can really switch colors out pretty easy. However, it's nice to get your colors together before you even start. I find it creates a lot of more cohesion in the design. That's just me. I also pulled for Ember's clothing colors. I brought in Marble's clothing. So Marble wears like red and blue. So I wanted to bring in the blue to complement all the orange on Ember. A lot of this video is just me doing the flat colors on these, which is kind of boring. I mean, it's very like relaxing to watch and it's relaxing to do because it's very just like, it's like a coloring book, I guess, which is super chill. But like, anyways, so once I like put down the colors for the outfit, I did a lot of messing around. Not so much with his fur color because I was like, this is what I want. But I did mess around quite a bit with his clothing color to kind of get it right. And I jumped between like blue and green as like the highlights for his clothing. He wears a lot of like black, though instead of like pure black, I've done like a very desaturated blue so that it still carries that blue tone to it, that blue hue to it, without being super saturated, and still gets to be nice and dark and look like it's black. So yeah, if you ever have a character who wears black or dark colors, instead of doing a pure black, try doing like really dark desaturated blues or purples or even browns, any color really. It just brings a little more cohesion to the other colors in their outfit. And that's usually what people mean when they tell you like, don't color with black. Just use a very dark purple or blue or brown. Those are usually your best bet. Because when you do everything in pure black, things get very flat. And yeah, and like I said, it makes the colors more harmonious. So once I had a very good idea for Ember's colors, I moved on to Puff. I used the orange for his fur, but I desaturated it a ton, so it looks like a kind of beigey gray brown. Because I want Puff to feel still kind of like warm. Because raccoons have very like, their fur is a mixture of like grays and blacks and browns. So I didn't want him to be like totally gray, because he's this very like warm, cuddly looking guy. So I wanted to add a little bit of warmth to the gray of his fur, so I made it just like kind of orangey, and also so that it matches Ember's fur pretty well. I struggled quite a bit with Puff's clothing colors, as you'll see. I struggled a lot with a lot of the clothing here. I found it's very like, it's just one of those things where like I really had to play around with things quite a bit. I didn't exactly know what I wanted like to be like the highlights and the shadows, not shadows, but like the darker parts of the clothing, and like I had a lot of trouble figuring out the contrast here and there. Okay, I guess I struggled with Puff a little less than I did with, say, Sprout. I found Sprout's design the toughest to color. Puff, at least he has his vest, which I really wanted to be like the color thing that pops. And again, I struggled between green and blue quite a bit in this, but near the end I decided on blue because it complements the orange in their designs very well. So green and orange are a pretty nice choice because they're closer together on the color wheel, so they're very like, I can't remember the word for it, but they just feel a bit more harmonious because they're so close together. Whereas orange and blue are complementary, meaning they're opposites on the color wheel. So yeah, we'll see. Basically, I think the green was just like a bit too earthy for these guys. Like they're definitely like they live in the woods, but they are roguish. They are troublemakers. And the blue also goes a lot better with, say, Penny and Marble's designs. So I went with blue in the end, as you'll see later. But yeah, I struggled quite a bit with Sprout. Originally, I made his fur very like warm again, very similar to Puff's, but a little bit darker. But I discovered that, like, it doesn't really suit him very well. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on why it didn't work. So in the end, I did eventually lighten up his fur and make it very gray, very desaturated. I just found it fit him a little bit better. And then I carried the blue through to his shirt and the orange through to his trousers. But yeah, oh, and the gray that I chose for his fur is tinted blue. I don't think it appears to the end of the video when I like fix up all the colors. Similar to like the blue of Ember's clothing, I really wanted Sprout's fur to like feel cohesive with the blue, so I tinted it blue a little bit. I find like, I think I run into this a lot with like color pieces. Until the very end, it doesn't feel like things come together very well. And then I find like right at the very end of what I'm working on, it's like, oh, it works. Because like I find when I'm just filling in the flat colors, I worry a little bit about like getting the value, meaning like how light or dark it is, correct, and like getting all the colors I want correct. But honestly, when I'm doing flat colors, I probably shouldn't worry about that. It's not really what's important when you're just filling in the colors. And I find like once I have everything lined up, I have all my colors down and I can play around with them a lot, that's when the color cohesion really starts coming together, and I can be like, okay, instead of green, I want blue. Instead of, I don't know, it's like, oh, their fur color is too dark. I'm going to lighten it up so that it stands out against their pants. Like, a lot of those really, like, detail-oriented decisions come together at the end. Whereas, like, early on, it's not a good idea for me to expect perfection from myself, because it's not going to happen. Because it's like a first draft. I'm just figuring things out and figuring out where everything goes. And it really does help to have all the characters lined up before I make any, like, definitive decisions that, like, yeah, I don't know. I also took some time between putting down all their colors and getting like a general sense between, and then deciding their final colors, so it was like a day or two before I finished everything. So I found it was a lot easier to then choose their colors, having some time away from it. It's like seeing the forest through the trees. When you're up close with it, it's like, I don't know, I'll get like a weird idea where I'm like, this green has to work, even though it's not working. So just having some time in between, it's like, okay, the green doesn't work, it's clashing, I'm going to use the blue. So again, it was nice to have some time away between sessions to kind of have some time away, get a clear head, take a fresh look at it later. And yeah, and it helps you see like contrast issues, color issues. Contrast issues, I should probably expand on that a little bit. Basically, you don't want your characters to all have the same like value throughout their entire costume or color design. So, like, you want a character who's like, I don't know, their whole outfit is totally black and, I don't know, they have dark purple skin or something, where basically if you look at it, you can't distinguish any of the details on them. Like, you can't tell, like, what's their clothing, what's their skin, what's their hair, whatever it is. Same goes for if it's, like, completely white or red or blue or any color you could choose. You don't want it to all be the same value-wise. You want to have light colors that break up your dark colors. Take, for example, if you look at Ember with his little vest. He has the dark torso of the vest, then he has his arms, which are, his sleeves and his arms, which are lighter colored, and there's even a belt that breaks up in the middle of his vest between the top and the bottom. And then his pants, the contrast between his vest and his pants is a little weak. I could make the pants a little bit lighter to make them stand out more. But yeah, you just want to make sure that every part of your character is readable. It helps with clarity, so they can read what your character looks like, and it helps with visual interest. Same thing goes for, like, all their designs, where it's like Puff has very, like, dark pants, and he has the dark, like, fur patches on his face, like the mask, the raccoon mask. I gave him a light shirt to break up all the darkness, and I made sure that his vest was, like, his vest is a little mid-tone, honestly. I could brighten it up quite a bit to make it stand out a bit more, but it's a nice, like, color pop right in the middle of all these other, like, really dulled down colors that he has. Because contrast doesn't only go for, like, lightness and darkness, it can also go with, like, saturation. So, you know, you don't want your characters to be all gray tones. You probably want to break some of that up with really vibrant colors, like really bright, saturated colors. So, for example, like Ember, he has fur that's, like, super, super orange. I probably don't want his entire outfit to be super bright like his fur, because I want his fur to stand out. Same goes for, like, matches with his bandana. He's a very gray and black colored character. Like, his fur is all gray, he has his black pants. I really wanted the bandana to pop. It also looks like a little flame, because he's a little match boy. And it matches Ember, of course, with the orange through line. Honestly, Sprout's the only character who doesn't have, like, too much orange in him, which maybe I should change. Though his pants are based off of the orange. Like, the brown is created from the orange and then toned down saturation-wise. But yeah, I think he's missing kind of that brightness. Maybe I'll make his eyes a nice, like, amber color. As you can see, like, when you have them all lined up, you can really decide things like that, where it's like, oh, they all have bright orange except for, say, Sprout, or even Puff. Puff could use a bit more orange. Though, like, his fur and his shirt carry the orange enough, I think. Like, there's just that nice warmth to them that's, like, it's subtle, but I like it. Where Sprout feels just like something's off. I can't put my finger on it. Sprout, why you giving me heck? Why you giving me heckin' trouble, huh? But yeah, so that's how you design group colors. I hope all that makes sense. It's very, like, figure it out as I go and kind of, like, trial and error. But I usually just start with picking, like, one or two important colors. This was, like, an exception to usually how I start if I have, like, nothing to go off of, because I did have Marble and Penny to base Ember's colors off. But if I had a brand new character who didn't have, like, any other characters that had color to them, I would just start with their personality. If you take Ember, it's like, he's a rogue, he's very, like, passionate and fiery, and he's a go-getter. So, like, the orange suits him a lot. He's a raccoon, but he has the heart of a wily fox. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, so the blue is kind of like that sneaky, roguish side, and then the orange is his, like, very fiery, passionate side. So yeah, that is where you can start with colors. Just start with kind of the emotions you want to bring. It could even come from their environment, because you can contrast with their environment. Say they're from, like, a forest where everything is green and brown, and you really want to contrast it. Make a character who's all very, like, red and pink, because that would stand out against the green quite a bit. Or you could have them blend in with it, where you could choose, like, blues or different greens to, like, mesh in with the surroundings. There's tons of different places you can go with it. But yeah, when you have a big group, line them all up together, and then you can kind of see how they would look together as a group. Yeah. And it always helps to just have, like, your kind of lead character to kind of decide the color story. It's hard, man. Prepare to make lots of mistakes and recolor things, because, like, I have a feeling their colors are still going to change quite a bit. Like, these are not final by any means. The more characters we add, the more likely it'll be like, oh, I actually like this decision better. Let's go back and change some things. But yeah, these are some good initial designs, I think. They make a formidable little raccoon gang. So yeah, more to come in the future. I'm very excited by the progress that I've been making so far. Ooh, woo, woo, woo. I haven't even done the expression sheets for these guys. I mean, I have a pretty good idea from the sketches I did in my sketchbook on these previous vlogs, but it'll be cool to see what the heck all these guys look like drawn on a nice little guide. I think that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Please let me know if you have any questions. I feel like I rambled quite a bit. I don't know if I answered everything about color cohesion. So let me know if you're still confused. I will happily do a follow-up or talk about it more in more of these vlogs. So yeah, thank you once again. Let me just keep saying thank you. I'm just so grateful. So if you want to watch more videos about webcomics and character design, make sure to subscribe. We've got more stuff coming your way. And if you want to read Scourge of Ninepoint, which these lovely guys are from, you can buy it at our Ticktail store. There's a link to the description down below. Yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!